And Kimberly, I appreciate you doing this with me today, but I'll let you get started.
Yeah, I wanted to welcome you to all of our viewers and listeners to the Prospecting Today podcast, Jason. I know that you're a real estate agent that a lot of real estate agents look to when they want to be calmed down or to understand a little bit more about how they can be productive during this time. So I was kind of curious, Jason, what you've come across and what your life has been like since this pandemic started.
Man, I'm in an interesting market. I'm in a second home market. We're close to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And one of the things that's really crazy for us is that we don't have a lot of we don't have a lot of cases yet, fortunately, but like oceanfront property, you can't go show an oceanfront condo, an oceanfront resort right now. They just won't let you in. They've already said there's going to be no bookings until I don't even know when they going to start bookings back in hotels. So it gives us, Kimberly, it gives us an interesting thing because there's a lot of sellers that really need our help that are, they're used to having that rental income coming in right now, and they don't. So I'm kind of curious, there's going to be a lot of them that are going to be super motivated because typically they're like, these people with oceanfront property, they're not making like a fortune off of it. I promise you, between HOA fees and insurance and everything else. They're lucky if they break even and get to stay a couple of weeks themselves, for free. But a lot of these people, they're used to the spring break. People already haven't been there, like coming in March. So April starts like the good months for them, like April to 1st of September. Then after September, they're lucky to make enough to pay their HOA fee. But this is the time of the year that starts things really good for them that they're not having. And it's already pretty clear that I don't think they're going to have like a good May either, right? So, you figure that's probably 20% of their income, 25% of their income, maybe for the year. If it goes through May and into June, man, it's really going to put them in a situation, some of them, where they have to sell, they have to take deferments, and they have to do something,
Right, absolutely. Which is kind of interesting about your market. So what are some things that you've been doing differently to stay really productive during this time?
Man, you know what? I think for all of us, it's kind of messed up our schedule just a little bit. It doesn't matter how disciplined you are, your schedule's screwed up right now. Even if you've been working home from before, typically, the kids wasn't there, the spouse wasn't there, whatever it is. For me personally, like last week, I kind of quit watching the news. It was just so depressing. And literally, I felt like I just didn't know what to do some days, right? I felt like I didn't know what to do because the news was so negative, and you watch it and you're like, oh my God, there's another 10 coronavirus cases today. But you look at the state of South Carolina, that'd be 100 in the state of South Carolina, and there's 4 or 5 million people in the state, right? So numbers wise, there was a lot worse things that happened in the world or in the state of South Carolina. So sometimes the news is, I'm not saying that this stuff is fake or anything like that or trying to put it down. I think that everybody should do what they think is the best thing for them and the safest thing for themselves and the family. But a lot of us are glued to the TV. And the TV, the news makes money off of ratings and viewers. And the longer that you're scared and stressed out and stuff, the more you're going to watch it. And news is just crazy. I think number one, I quit watching the news. Quit watching the news. I figured if something important was going to happen, somebody would text me about it. They'd text me about it or email me or somehow I would figure it out, I think it's more important than ever right now to make sure that those things you're doing to stay productive are self-motivating things like reading books, watching videos, getting on webinars, like this, listen to podcasts. I think anything you can put in positive, the more positive stuff you can put in, the better things are going to be for you.
Absolutely. I've heard a lot of agents ask about the PPP, which is the Personal Payroll Protection Program, I believe, and it's administered through the SBA, the Small Business Administration. And I talked to the California Association of Realtors yesterday, and they've been lobbying hard for real estate agents to get payroll protection as well. And that has been included with this second round of stimulus. And I'm just curious, is that something that you've filed for, or that you're encouraging agents to look into?
I'm not filing for anything. I mean, honestly, I'm not filing for anything. I mean, if anything, I feel like during this time, my plan is I want my business to grow, right? I see agents talking about getting unemployment, and even in my coaching group and stuff, I've probably been a little negative on it. I mean, honestly, it's out there. If you really need it, you should take advantage of it, right? But to tell you the truth, I don't really need it. I mean, I feel like this is probably for a lot of agents, Kimberly, this is the thing in their career that's going to be the greatest thing that could happen to them. This event, right? Because if you can bring order, and you can bring peace, and you can bring a sense of calmness in the middle of this chaos, when you're talking to sellers that are behind on the mortgage, when you're trying to help them figure out what their problems are, you're going to win, and your business is going to keep growing. Like right now, I just had an agent text me a few minutes ago, Daryl Self. He's out in Texas. He just took a $750,000 listing today. He said because nobody wanted to go to the woman's house. He was the only agent that called him, right? Wow. He says it's a $750,000 listing, and it's a sellable one, right? Mm-hmm. And Daryl's out. He's near Dallas, and he's taking listings every day like that right now. Mm-hmm. Because in his market, there's a lot of agents, and I'm not telling anybody to put their health at risk or anything like that, but you know what? A lot of us are sitting around waiting for the next episode of Tiger King to be released, right? And the thing is, a lot of that time we should be spending like contacting our sphere of influence, contacting our past clients. Some of these guys I'm friends with that are making tremendous cold calls a day. They're telling me about their pickup rate is doubled, where they were getting 6%. Now they're getting 12, 15% pickup. I've even talked to some agents that are getting 20, 25% pickup. So imagine that, like all of a sudden you've got 2-3 times more people answer the phone, because let's face it, most of us are sitting around doing nothing. We're hoping the telemarketer calls, right? We're hoping something breaks up our day. Yeah. There's only so much that's on Netflix. I joked with somebody the other day. I said, you know what? I think we watched Netflix last week, and we've seen it all. And I think this week we're going to watch Amazon,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that this is I think agents that are filing for those things. I mean, number one, I think there's a lot of them that are going to file for it. And in the next month or two, they're just going to be out of the business, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's going to be negative in their business rather than positive. I think that there's people still buying houses. It doesn't matter what market you're in. Look at MLS. I guarantee you listings came on the market, listings closed on your market. Yeah. Even in the place where they're considering us non-essential, houses still sold today, right? I mean, so, if you don't believe me, call your courthouse and ask how many new deeds were recorded today. And I guarantee, there's business happening. And the thing is, there's not a lot of agents that are doing the business. And I think that if you got out there working rather than trying to figure out this PPP programs and unemployment programs and stuff, I think you're better off spending more time talking to your clients and looking at how can you expand your market share during this time.
Yeah. Absolutely, because when the government restrictions start to lift, you've got to have a full pipeline. And I'm concerned with agents that aren't that forward thinking and aren't going to have that full consistent pipeline because they didn't work like they should have been during this time.
Yep. $600 a week. I mean, let's be honest. What am I going to do with $600 a week? We're going to have to figure out what bills I'm not going to pay. Right. And that's kind of how I looked at it. Hey, it's not if you need it, go do it. But I'm not encouraging any agents that are working with me or that I'm coaching to do it. I'm telling them not to do it.
Yeah.
Even the PPP, the small loan, and the $10,000 grant and stuff. There's a lot of things in there that I kind of looked and I kind of researched, and I talked to several people about it. I said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about this. I'm just going to make more money. That's just the truth.
Yeah, I like it. So, during this time, as you're doing podcasts, Jason, and as you're talking to your Facebook group, I do like some of the things you're hearing from agents, like the $750,000 listing that he was able to go out on. Mm-hmm. What are some more interesting things you're hearing from people about how they're getting through this storm?
You know what? We're still seeing offers. We're seeing offers sight unseen. We're seeing a lot of agents reconnecting with the sphere of influence. We're seeing a lot of agents connecting with their sphere of influence through Facebook. gosh, I've had so many good ones that I've talked to that that are in my group coaching that are still taking listings. And I think we do have to be a little bit more prepared because, people are a little kind of, they're a little bit strange as far as coming to their house. And it's not really an objection. It's really a condition. Where objection is typically just a smokescreen. This is not. This is something that's real, that's out there. It's a real fear, at least. But as far as positive things, I mean, man, there's still people moving, just people moving to new markets. Gosh, we had him on the call on one of the webinars a few days ago, Anthony Dezette. Anthony Dezette just moved from New Orleans to Dallas because he wanted to be in a bigger market. He wanted to be at a higher price point. He had an opportunity to relocate. And I mean, the guy was doing, gosh, I want to say he was doing 40 or 50 million a year in New Orleans. Wow. And he wound down his business a little bit and took the opportunity to move. And he just done that through the middle of this. I think he's going to crush it too. I think he's going to, I think if nobody knows who Anthony is today in Dallas, I think as soon as he gets his license and stuff straight, I don't think it'll be long. And he will be an agent, carrying a significant number of listings out there.
So he left a highly lucrative real estate business behind in New Orleans just for a new start somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. And he just done it. I mean, he moved, 2-3 weeks ago. Well, I think he moved like a week ago, right? Not only did he do this, and leave New Orleans and go to Dallas, he done it in the middle of a pandemic that we've never seen in the history of, at least our lifetimes, And I think that, right now, even say like in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, or wherever you're in Arizona or Tennessee or wherever, I don't think it matters. I think that your competition just isn't working. Your competition isn't following up. Your competition's doing, honestly, they're doing nothing. There's so many agents doing nothing.
Yeah, I'd love to keep an eye on Anthony as well, because my guess is he wanted a new challenge and he's going to be up for the challenge.
I think so. I mean, he'd probably be a great person for your podcast. And
sure.
Guys, and any of you guys listen to this that's in Facebook group or listen to the recording, podcasting today's podcast is great. It constantly interviews great agents.
Yeah. We've got some good ones. I've sat down with Dr. Lawrence Yoon of NAR, the chief economist of NAR, last week to just talk about what to expect in terms of the market. And he was very optimistic. He said, yes, we see a ton of job loss now, but when this is all said and done, we're going to see record numbers of job creation on the flip side of it. Mm-hmm. Like an 8 million job creation in one day as these jobs start coming back. And even just the housing prices, he doesn't expect the pricing of homes to go down either because of
really?
This. So his interview was very interesting as he looks at the numbers, because this pandemic is not what we saw back in 2008. This isn't built on a bubble that, the housing crisis that we looked at in 2008, this is something totally different. And so, yeah, he was very encouraging, and it was great to talk to him. So I encourage your listeners to go and listen to that interview as well, because they'll get great, they'll feel encouraged to keep working and to fill that pipeline. Because like you said, the ones that are getting discouraged are the ones that are going to get left behind.
Yep, that's right. And you know what? So I'll share with you a couple of things I'm telling my group coaching people. Number one is that prospecting is compounding, right? Right now, we might not get the results we want or we expect right now. If you're on the phone, you're making calls, you might not get the results that you want, right? It may be 3, 4, 5 weeks from now when this is over. Hopefully it's over sooner, but 3, 4, 5 weeks before it's over. But this is going to compound, all the people you're talking to, all the people you're putting in your pipeline, the people that you're sending your pre-listing package out to, the people that you're following up with real information, right? It's going to compound, and the floodgates will open when this is over for you, right? And your business, one of the ways I've described it to them, your business is like a funnel. Those first calls when you subscribe to RedX or whoever you're getting data from, I prefer RedX, but when you subscribe to it, those first initial calls, that's the top level of your funnel. You're gauging motivation with them. You're making sure you got a right number. You're sorting through, right? And once you quit sorting, it's just like pouring oil into a funnel in your car. Once you quit pouring oil, sooner or later things quit coming out the bottom of the funnel, right? So right now our funnel is probably longer and wider than what it normally is, right? And it's really, really small at the end because it's a little harder to get in the door. But as long as you keep dumping stuff in there, as long as you keep dumping leads in it, stuff's going to come out the bottom, and hopefully it opens up in a month from now. You know, guys, the no's that you're getting today. Right now, we had something else happen like last week, the 15th. Pretty much after the 15th, your mortgage payment was late in April. If you didn't make your mortgage payment by the 15th, you're late. It's estimated, nobody knows what the numbers are yet, but it's estimated that maybe 35% of people with mortgages didn't pay the month of April, which is mind-blowing, right? Yeah. And there's furloughs and forbearances and stuff like that, but the problem with that is you're still going to have to pay those payments at some point. Mm-hmm. So the people that told you no at the beginning of the month, that missed a payment this month, which is statistically, they're estimating 1 out of 3. And I mean, they've been pretty close on unemployment numbers. I feel like they're going to be pretty close on this too, right? The estimates that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. Okay, they missed their first payment. Okay, next month they're going to miss a second payment, more than likely. And if this thing continues, and it's going to continue in a lot of big markets, it's going to be a lot of quarantines and a lot of, not really quarantines, but shelter in place. That's what we have here, shelter in place. Right. So all the restaurants are closed and essential businesses, and honestly, like a lot of stuff's just closed, right? Right. So the first payment may not have been a big deal for them. The second payment, I think the second payment is going to be a little bigger deal. But then when they get to the third payment, a lot of these forbearances are only 3 months. So when they get to that third month and they realize fourth month, they got to make those 3 payments plus the fourth payment. Like, that's like a oh shit moment, right? So all of a sudden your $1,500 mortgage payment, you've been out of work. Yeah, you got unemployment. Yeah, you got $1,200 stimulus check, all this stuff. But all of a sudden that fourth month, your $1,500 mortgage payment isn't $1,500, it's $4,500. Mm-hmm. Or if they do have an option for you to spread those 3 payments out over the next 12 months, that's going to take your $1,500 a month mortgage payment and bump it up to $1,800, $1,900 a month, right? So if you were struggling at $1,500, then you're really going to struggle at $1,900. Right. Plus, some of those jobs that people were making $15 an hour at, I just got a feeling, just from what I've been reading and stuff, a lot of those jobs might not come back at $15 an hour. Mm-hmm. Right? Because there's going to be so many people unemployed. Let's face it, employers are going to hire just as talented staff, just as talented employees, but instead of $15 an hour, they're going to pay them $12, or maybe they could get them for $10, right? So we're going to see a lot. I just feel like we're going to see a lot of stuff like that. So the no's that you're getting today from those for sale owners that you're seeing on Craigslist, for sale owners you're getting through Redex, the expires that are kind of holding off for the time being, guys, keep following up with those people, because those no's, I think a lot of those no's are going to turn into yeses. 1 out of 3 is just missed a mortgage payment. Yeah. So I think number 4, I think we got it. We have an elephant in the room. We have this coronavirus. I think we have to mention it. We have to talk about it on the phone, right? I know there's a lot of agents that like to avoid the bad situations and stuff and bad talks, but I think we're going to see inventory go up. I know that NAR has some really smart people, but if it's more difficult to get a mortgage, then it reduces our number of buyers in the market. And if a lot of people are unemployed and a lot of people don't have money, they're living off their savings right now and whatever they're getting from the government, just common sense tells you there's going to be less buyers, right? Mm-hmm. So there has to be more properties on the market. This inventory has to go up. So I'd love to see what some of these big builders like D.R. Horton and Pulte, like what their dropout rate is right now. Like how many deals are they losing with inventory that's almost finished that they're building? How much standing inventory will they have 3 months from now? Because I'm seeing, and I think that this is I mean, I know I went from really positive to not really positive just now, but we're seeing a lot of these builders, like, had an agent go, hey, I'm showing new construction this weekend. And I said, really, what's going on with that? And they said, oh, well, they're offering a 6% buyer commission. And I don't know if you remember 2000. I don't know how long you've been in the real estate industry, but 2007, all of a sudden, well, 2005, 2006 in my market, some of these big builders went to like a 2% buyer commission, right? And then they went back up to 3%. And then all of a sudden they went to 5, 6, 7% on new construction. The reason was because they had standing inventory they had to get rid of. So they were offering massive incentives for agents to bring properties. And I think when we see these guys, these big builders like Pulte, like Pulte, D.R. Horton, I mean, there's so many, but those are the two biggest ones in my market. When we see them doing stuff like that, that's definitely a red flag for where the market's heading. I mean, they're not doing it for no reason. These people have extremely deep pockets and way more money than most of us, as far as the ability to hold inventory if they're projecting good things financially in the future. So I don't know. I feel like that's a signal.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you have something that you can keep an eye on that's going to help you kind of predict what's going to come down the road. I think that's very smart and very important to keep an eye on. So overall, Jason, are you seeing agents use more virtual tools during this time? Are they trying to embrace that?
Yeah. You know what? I'm seeing agents using a lot more. Matterport's been a big one. I'm seeing a lot more of them. I mean, even just doing a video with their cell phone. I'm seeing a lot more virtual houses. I think, God, I probably got invited to 20 virtual open houses this weekend. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot more of that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Have you, do you work with any buyers? Like, have you heard anything from buyers? Are they hesitant to look at properties and to buy at this time?
You know, I think it's 50-50. I think some buyers, I don't work with a lot of buyers personally, but I think some buyers are a little bit hesitant about going to people's houses. Same as some sellers going, hey, I don't want anybody in my house. Now, guys, for everybody that's listening to this, Kimberly, I do think that if you have a house that you want to sell, that you do need to get it on the market today. And even if that means you're not going to allow showings, you know, there's people sitting on their couch right now that are looking at houses on Facebook, and their job is going to return. And their job is going to return at some point, and they're shopping. They're trying to figure out what they're going to get for the money. And I'll tell you this, I feel like every day I have a friend from Facebook, just some person I know asking me about getting a mortgage. I mean, they're online looking up stuff, and they're trying to figure it out. Maybe not for tomorrow, but for 3-6 months down the road from now.
Well, I feel like people are pretty astute in the sense that they're like, if you're going to buy, now might be the time to really look, because there might be some good deals out there because of the panic and because of people's fear of the future. And I don't know if that's true or not in terms of whether or not you've seen deals during this time, or whether houses are you know, a good deal to be had. But I would imagine people are looking for that very reason.
You know, I believe the buyers and the sellers really that we have right now in 2020 that are looking at buying or selling, I think they're the most educated clients that we've had in the history of real estate agents, because they have access. I mean, let's be honest, they have access to as much information as you and I do. Mm-hmm. You know, through Zillow and some of these things that we've traded data for, but that's a different conversation. But they're so educated on what's happening and what's happening in the real estate industry, because all of the information is available. Like before, they had to go through us, you know, and you had to flip through the book and show them what was for sale. Now they can search until they get sick of searching, you know, and look at everything that we look at virtually, everything that's on MLS at least. I think that, I mean, there are probably some that are making some offers and get some deals. I'll tell you what, I got a seller right now that accepted an offer on a listing that we got the offer, and it was one of those that, you know, when I actually seen it, I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to present it, right? Because he's been very adamant about what he wanted. It was very close to asking price, which asking price was not bad. We're getting a lot of showings, but this was a cash offer that was significantly less than what he wanted. And I sent it over to him, called him, we chatted over a few minutes. He calls me back about 10 minutes later after talking to his wife, and he goes, hey, look, I think with everything going on, we should just sell this. And it was kind of like my mouth hit the floor. I was like, wow, man. I mean, he could have possibly dropped the price like $5,000 and probably netted another 10 grand. You know what I mean? And but you know what? I work for him. That's how you got to look at these things. I work for him, and you know what? As long as it's an acceptable offer to him, it might not be the best offer I think we can get, but as long as it's acceptable to the client, I work for the client, man. I'm not going to try to talk him out of it, you know. But I do feel like that's happening a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would venture to guess that as well. Anything else, Jason, that you think is important for real estate agents to know during this time, or important about their mindset, or anything that you can add?
You know, one thing I want to share is that I'm seeing a lot of agents and I'm seeing comments where they feel like prospecting is taking advantage of people, or people don't want to hear from you right now, or whatever it is. But the thing is, there's a lot of people that are sitting there at their couch and they are worried about what's going on. And guys, they have a problem. And if you are a semi-well-trained agent, right, and you're watching the market, you have the ability to help them, right? You have the ability to fix that problem for them. And, you know, guys, I feel like it's selfish. Like if I knew something that could really help you, Kimberly, and I mean, I know this is the second podcast we've done. We've exchanged emails. If I had something that I said, hey, this could really help Kimberly, and I don't reach out and help you knowing you have this problem, I mean, it's kind of selfish, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's selfish. And I think that's the mindset we need to build, is that it's selfish for us not to go and try to help some of these people with their problems, and selfish for us not to call them, and not to check up on them, not to talk about their situation on the phone, you know, because let's face it, you know, once you miss that first mortgage payment, you know, I remember 2008 missing my first credit card payment, right? It's a stressful thing, you know, and some of these people worked really, really hard to get this house, and they missed the first payment. They still have equity. Who knows what's going to happen when they miss the second, third, fourth, fifth payment? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think there's a lot of people that'll be in that situation.
Well, that's a really interesting way to look at it, Jason. And I appreciate you for sharing that with us. And I appreciate you taking the time to just educate my viewers on just the right way to be working and thinking during this time.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you know, letting me share this with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate your time.
Hey, you have a great day. Thanks, Kim.
And then you'll send this to me, right, Jason?
Yep, I sure will.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.